Hello, everybody. Let's get started then. It's 3 o'clock and a warm welcome to everyone, whether you're watching this live or you're consuming it on demand. This webinar is about how publishers are using automated sports content to drive effects in their newsroom and businesses. My name is Cecilia Campbell and I'm head of marketing at United Robots, and I shall now share my screen. Joining me today, as you can see, is my on-the-road colleague, Henning Johannesson. So I'm working in the head office down in Malmö, and Henning is somewhere on the East Coast, normally stationed in Örnsköldsvik. Henning is our head of product, and before he joined us, he was the head of sports at Mittmedia, and that is now part of Bonnier News Local. So he's worked with automated sports content since we launched back in 2015. Nice to have you with us, Henning.
Nice to be here. I'm actually at the High Coast Bridge, not far from home, about 1 hour's drive home to get home. But it's really nice to be able to join under such circumstances. I've got a really lovely view here. I don't know if anyone else could see it. I tried to share it before, but it's nice to be here.
Okay, so before we start, just a couple of housekeeping points. If you want to ask questions, please use the Q&A function down at the bottom of the screen, and we'll try to get everything answered. And after the webinar, you'll get a link, of course, to the recording as well as the slides that we're sharing. And of course, get in touch at any point afterwards if you have any questions. So just a very short background on who United Robots are and what we do. We're a Malmö-based company, and we were set up in 2015. Our first customer was the local media group Mittmedia, and the first product we developed for them was the sports robot. By now, we're veterans in automated editorial content. We've automatically generated and distributed over 3 million texts in the past 5 years to news publishers in the Nordics, in Europe, and North America. So what we do is we generate texts from structured data sets like sports results or traffic incidents or property sales. And we sometimes add images or other media to the texts. We then send the content to the publisher, either into the CMS or through apps or push notifications. So the vast majority of the articles that we generate are published automatically, with no manual tasks involved at the publisher end. And important to note as well that we provide continuous support and development for our clients. So you don't need to set up a big technical project to get started with automated content. We have a number of products that are ready to be implemented off the shelf. And when we talk about a robot, this is what we talk about. We produce, in addition to sports, we have a robot that writes real estate texts, company texts, whether it's business registrations or bankruptcies, weather, stock market, we have traffic incidents, and we also have a breaking news service where we provide news desks with alerts. So that could be either that the robot has spotted an anomaly in the data that would normally just be published, but let's say a top league football team won by 5 goals, that might have been set as an anomaly by the news desk, and then they get an alert so they can do a story on it manually. Or it might be an event from data that's not suitable for automatic publication, like police incident data in Sweden, for example. You couldn't use that to publish automatically, it's too sensitive, but the news desk can get an alert and do a story about it that way. At the moment, we have robot versions in Swedish, English, Norwegian, Finnish, German, Dutch, and Russian shortly coming as well. We work with different data sources. For sports, that includes Sports Radar and Every Sport. We could also incorporate publishers' own data sources. And this is what a robot text might look like. So the gray bits are the data points in the text that comes from the structured data. And this is what the content looks like on once it reaches the publisher site. As you can see, our texts are enriched with different media, and we'll come back to what we do for sports in this particular context. Right, so let's talk about automated sports and how our publisher partners fit this into their content strategies at the moment. As I mentioned, we're a content as a service company. So that means, what that means is that we provide actual newsroom resources, the content, or you could think of it in terms of the robots working alongside the reporters, as this shows. Should get rid of. The key is to deploy reporters and robots where each have the most impact. So any journalistic publication, of course, needs reporters to provide a sense of community, the human voice, and obviously to write the important, deep and complex journalism. But robots are good for some things. They're great when it comes to doing predictable routine reporting. They're great at doing it at speed and at volume. So what does automation mean for how you cover sports then? Well, it means you can be fast. The robots write the match report at the final whistle. It means you can cover all the matches of all the series of all the sports simultaneously. And that means that you can reach many more people, coaches, players, and fans in all the local communities. And not only can you cover a lot more matches, you can also provide a full user experience thanks to automatic enrichments like images and graphics, as we'll see. And finally, and maybe most importantly, the automation means you free up reporter time. And that's, of course, time that can be used to produce the more engaging sports journalism. So now we're going to get into the nitty-gritty of sports automation, the United Robots way. We go through all the aspects of our sports product and show how publishers benefit from these features. All right, Henning, this is where you're going to help me now. So the first one, and this was the original one, the match reports, of course. We cover all team sports as listed here. As I mentioned before, the texts are written at the final whistle, so you get them immediately. And you can obviously publish an unlimited number of leagues and divisions depending on your needs. We use data from Sports Radar, from Every Sport, or we can incorporate publishers' own data sources, which has happened a couple of times. And the texts include all sorts of things, including the goal scorers, the halftime results, penalty goals, and then streaks and table position, upcoming games. And of course, the robot takes all this into account in how it tells the story about where in the league and what this looks like in ahead of the next game, and how teams have been playing home and away and all that sort of thing. Maybe you would, I don't know, did that cover it, Henning?
I think so. This is quite a good review of what we do, what we use when it comes to data.
So let's look at the publishers then. Mittmedia, of course, this is where you started your
automation career.
Yes, exactly.
That's true. That's true. So actually, what we did at Mittmedia was to actually stop writing match reports on lower division games. But we knew there was an interest from the local community, so we stopped writing them and asked the bot to do it instead, and we found out that it worked really good. it worked better than when we had freelance reporters doing it, because it was more reliable, it was faster, and we didn't have to edit it when it came to from the freelancers. So it freed up reporter time, and with that we could use the reporter time to do real journalism, real sports journalism that really engaged the public. So we saw an increase in reads, and people bought subscriptions on our sports material much more than before this. And we also were able to cover more games. We could cover like the fourth division women's game that we didn't cover before, because we thought it was way too far down in the leagues. We could almost do like the local pub league.
And then we have Aftonbladet. They're a national Swedish news site, and they have a particular pink-colored sports public edition, don't they?
Yeah, you know where that come from, don't you?
No.
No, it's the Gazzetta dello Sport in Italy that used the pink one. Yeah, so Aftonbladet is actually using automated sports coverage for a variety of things. They use it to be able to cover all the Premier League games, as we state here. They use it to be able to have sports stories on their local sites. You know, they have local sites for all cities in Sweden, all municipalities in Sweden. So they have like 280 local sites where they are able to write stories on much more games than they would without automation. They also use it to have a text on all international football games that they use at their table section on their site.
Yeah. And then we have, of course, this ability to use sports coverage as sports content to set up completely new sites, which NTM have done, haven't they?
Yeah, so what they did is they used automated articles from all football leagues that involved teams from their region, and then they added the reporters' texts on top of that. So they have like a basement where they have all the automated stories, and then they have reporters writing journalistic stories upon that. And they also use the alert system. So they get alerts, as you said before, when a game ends 11-0, they are able to look at that game and maybe do a reporting on their own on it.
Yeah.
And this, of course, is enhanced as well with the coaches' comments that we're going to talk about later.
And this, of course, is a good example of where the robots and the reporters work well together. I mean, you get the volume of all the robot reports, but obviously it's the columns and the interviews and stuff that really makes it come alive. And it was a very quick launch, that 3 weeks from start to ready to go when they set it up. Yeah,
I think the most important thing there was the distribution. How do you want to set up the site? And they had a good idea of that. And then it was quite quick to set it up.
Yeah. So this is probably definitely our most unique feature, the Q&A. It even achieved 3rd place in the INMA Global Media Awards, which is saying a lot when considering we're not actually a publisher, we're a supplier to the industry. What it is it's the robot automatically interviewing team coaches. So at the end of the match, when it's written the article, the robot sends 2 or 3 match relevant questions, so not general ones, but actually linked to the result of the match to the team coaches. And usually the comment comes back within an hour or so, and it gets automatically inserted into the published article. And of course, all the coaches have agreed to do this ahead of each season, so they know what's coming. We have over 1,000 coaches right now contributing, and that number is continuously growing. And we reckon this season we'll collect about and publish about 16,000 comments from from coaches. And of course, this is a fantastic feature for the publishers.
Yeah. So this is amazing. I think maybe the best part of it is that the coaches love it. We did a questionnaire about it almost a year ago, and we asked all the coaches in the system what they thought about it, and more than 90% loved it. They say they liked it or they really loved it. So I'm really happy with that. It's hard to get people to interact, but the Q&A system really has pulled the trick. It really made it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, do you want to continue here?
Well, no, I was just going to say, Aftonbladet, again, they use it for their local, specifically for their local coverage, don't they?
Yeah. Yeah. So they do, and you can see, as Matthias says here, they really get good material to their local sites. They really get something more than just a result and the table position. So it's really something that power ups the text.
Yeah, and Buzzlight is a small local title within the Mittmedia group. And yeah, you've got the story on that one as well.
Yeah, I do, because they were part of the Mittmedia that I was head of sports for. They didn't have any sports editors, no reporters at all working with sports. So for them to be able to cover the local games as well as the top league in basketball, because they have like the Köping Stars who plays in the top league basketball. They actually use this Q&A system to be able to get insights from coach Nikolaidis after each basketball game, and they use it, of course, for the local games as well. They have a good football teams and hockey teams, but they are in the lower divisions. So for them, it was really useful for them.
Right, so a slightly newer product, the Pregame texts. Again, all sports are covered, and the texts then include the team status, the latest games and streaks, or anything else that might be important to the outcome of the upcoming game. And most of our Swedish local media clients use it, don't they?
Yeah, they do, and they use it like a heads up for the readers that there's actually a game coming up tonight, and it's a good way to actually make people come back to the site during the evening or during the day on weekends. So yeah, most of our clients use that. And
here we also have a client from slightly different industry, the betting industry, Kindred.
Yeah,
have ordered this. What are they going to do with it?
Yeah, so with Kindred, we have actually added some features to make it possible for them to send out an email to their subscribers before a game, telling them about the game, maybe coaching them to make a bet on the game. But we're writing like a preview article on the game. It's right now it's the top league Swedish football, but we're enhancing that hopefully soon to more leagues than that. So they're sending out an email with a reminder, that's the game tonight. Do you know everything before the game? And we have the answer to that.
And obviously that idea could work for any publisher, really, to give like heads up for games and stuff like that. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is a fairly new product as well. We now have the ability for publishers to upload their own archive photos. So obviously there's no way of publishing live photographs yet, but this way we can have, there's an image with the article, and each team can have their own photos uploaded, and they're tagged, they can be tagged on winning or defeated teams so that you get the right feeling when it comes out in the final text. And that's also very popular with actually both the local and national media in Sweden. It drives, it's particularly useful on the front page, isn't it? Or where in a sort of a puff situation where we're trying to get traffic to an article, isn't it?
Yeah, that's true. And what's really good with this, I think, it's something that actually would take a lot of time for the journalists to do, even if they would write their own articles from like 10 or 12 local games during a Saturday. It would be really tough time for them to go through the image archive, find the right image, and put it up on the text. So I think this really does the magic.
Mm-hmm. And then we have graphics. I'm sorry you can't actually see the whole thing. You'll see it on the next slide. So we auto-generate these. It's an image with the team logos, the result of the match, and also the names of the people who scored then.
Yeah, this is kind of a fallback when we don't have an archive image. So we can do this on all games. An archive image is, of course, we need somebody to provide the images for us. But club logos we have for almost all leagues.
Sorry, I have managed to click on it. I don't know how to get rid of that. Sorry, there we go. We'll answer that question in a moment. The graphics, here we have a Dutch example. It's the NDC, it's a Dutch media group, and they're using it for their junior football. And it's combined then with the archive images, so it gives them really a full experience for the public, for the audience now, especially because right now they don't have any audience in the games. There are no spectators, so it's been a perfect. They're very happy with this right now in the current circumstances. It meant that the coverage is very alive for them. We had a question there from our friend in Holland, actually, with the data sources. We can implement the publisher's own data source as well, can't we, Henning?
Yeah, we can. We try to do it as structured as we can, but we can implement almost any data. We can implement data from really large databases. We have those clients. We also have clients that have almost unstructured data, but we try to make a structure and use it for game coverage as well. So we can do it with almost any data.
Yeah, it's certainly not a block,
no.
a hindrance to collaboration at all. Widgets, these are tables, different types of tables that we can include. As you see here, there's all sorts of them, scoreboards with the results and goal scorers, table standings, the calendar, how individual players are doing, and all of that is done, included at no extra cost. And of course, this is really popular with sports fans, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they really love to see what this means for the table. And hopefully, if we gain 3 points in the next game, where will we end up?
Yeah, exactly. Some other features we can link to URLs within the actual articles. Can you explain a bit what that means for the publisher?
Yeah, that means that we can, in this example, Aftonbladet is doing a lot of live streamed games. So they stream the games online, and they want us to tell the public, the readers, that you can actually access the live games. And we inserted an image here that says live, watch the series, the league here. And we can do that for almost all text. For all text, we can do that. It's just something we add on our side, and automatically, depending on the sports, we can add that.
Yeah. And finally, we can embed videos, for example. I know that's important to actually have them embedded rather than linked to.
Yeah. And the only thing we need here is actually to get access to an API where you have the highlights or the match video, and we can access that and just add the embed. So it should be quite straightforward.
Yeah. So just to recap the benefits of sports coverage automation, you get the speed, which means instant results for your readers. You get the volume, which means that you can reach all the hyper-local communities with all the matches that have been played. You get all the enrichments automatic, so it's even with all the images and the graphics and everything, it's just as quick. And of course, you free up the reporter time, which means that your sports reporters can do the really more engaging, interesting journalism that might help you with reader revenues or all that kind of thing. That makes your news brand unique. And I guess if we look at it from 2015 to now, in 2015, sports automation was kind of an, oh, let's try it. It's an interesting, cool thing.
Yeah.
Whereas now?
I think now it's all about effect, you know, being able to measure that we have actually get an effect from this. And that's why we work closely together with all clients, trying to maximize the effect of all sports journalism. And of course, we take responsibility, or not responsibility, but we try to enhance the effect of the automated stuff.
Absolutely. All right, so let's see if we've got any questions. Here we go. So here's a question. Is it difficult to get it up and running if you're a publisher?
I would say it's quite easy. You don't have the tech department, your own tech department to work a lot of weeks. The only thing, we will send a JSON file, or we'll send a file to you with the content. And the only thing you need to figure out is how to distribute it. Should it be in the sports section? Should it be in a specific section? Me, myself, I think for the readers, it don't matter if it's a reporter who's been writing it or an automation. So I think you should put it in the sports section with all the other stories, but you need to figure out where to put it. And that's basically it. And of course, you need to be able to use like an image and put it as a top image or a puff image for the story.
So, and another question here: is it expensive to do this?
I would say not. No, it isn't. Of course, that depends on how many games you want to want us or want the bot to write. But if you compare like what a bot can do on one match day compared to what journalists can do on one match day, I would say it's way cheaper to use the automation. And then of course, if you have the money, let the reporter do the columns, do the stuff that people really react to, and let the automation do the coverage of the local games or the games. Yeah,
absolutely. All right,
sorry.
Final question for you, Henning, before you fall off the cliff there. What would you say, like, what are your favorite examples of publishers who've implemented sports automation?
I think I have quite a few,
yeah.
but one that comes to mind is Aftonbladet. They are big. They have like a national audience, but they use automatic coverage for a lot of things to make like the local sites really strong, to be able to cover international football. You saw as the example here, they're using the embeds for highlights to really enhance the success of their live streamings. So that's one example. On the local side, I would say BBLAT at Bonnier News, Bonnier Local. They're using, as I said, sports the automated coverage to actually be able to have a sports coverage without any real sports journalists.
Yeah. All right. If there are no more questions, which I don't think there are, and we're pretty much on time, thank you for joining us. And of course, again, please do get in touch if you have any more questions or would like to start talking about sports automation for your publisher. All right. Thank you very much. Bye.
See you guys. Bye.